Yeah, hello all. Thanks for joining. I hope you guys can hear me. Please confirm in the chat. And can you guys see my screen? Please confirm that as well. Okay, yeah. Thanks, Srinivas, for confirming. And yeah, Nagesh, do you have any query? Please put it in the chat. We will take the any doubts at the last of the session. So please do hold on to that. I will lower your hand as of now. So yeah. Please type in the chat. And yeah, everyone has the access to the chat. Okay, so let's start the session then. So yeah, once again, welcome to the Linux Administrator demo session. Okay. Yeah, yeah, your mic will be disabled, Rangasamy, and this is a recorded session. So you can view this section in the YouTube. Okay, so I will explain all those. What is the YouTube channel about? Okay, so the first thing is this is the Linux batch 292 and Karthik here. So yeah, and this is the support mail. So before proceeding with the session, this is the general information. So first thing, so please do contact anything related to the technical or you are having issue with the portal or payment. Any issue, please do reach out to the Logic Labs team. Okay. And the first 5 sessions, it will be a free session or it is a demo sessions. After that, from sixth session, it will be only for the paid candidates. Okay. And that you can't shift any batch. So let's say you opted for this batch and you can't right away attend the next batch as well. Anyhow, this recording will be with you lifetime. So, and you can reach out to me anytime if you have any doubts with this session. Okay. And the next one is, yeah. So you just click on this WhatsApp channel. Um, yeah, you will be click on join chat. So I will give this link in the chat as well. So I hope most people might have already been in the WhatsApp groups. So please do join this one if you want to have a query or so mostly, sorry, you don't have access to type in that one. So that is related to any course related details like let's say if I'm not available during the day or anything related to this course, it will be posted there in the WhatsApp channel. And so that's what this is the LMS we follow is Graphy and the recording and the notes, everything will be published there. I will show you that as well. What is the portal page? And so please do reach out to the support team only during the business hours, which is like Monday to Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. IST. And this is the support contacts. Okay. So please drop an email if you have any query. So they will support you. Okay. And let me give the support mail as well. So just for your ease of access. So yeah, so this is the support name. And so let's move on to the session. And this is all the social media links. We'll come back to this later. So yeah. Okay, so a little bit about myself. So Karthik here. So I have RHCSA certification and I'm about to attend RHCE as well in later this year. And so currently I'm working as a platform engineer in one of the MNC company. And as of now, handling more than 9,000. I didn't updated this one, so but yeah, more than 9,000 servers working day-to-day basis. And based on that knowledge as well as the certificate knowledge, we will be discussing throughout the course. Okay. So first question, this might be your first question, right? So why Linux? There is a lot of operating systems out there or different flavors of Linux out there. So why Linux and why still it's relevant in the IT and why Red Hat? So all these three questions first we need to address. Then we will move on to the next one. Why? Because this is a very new to the people who are from the Windows as well as Mac OS. And the fact is Mac is also based on Linux. Okay, so it is one of the Linux flavor, you can call it like that. And first thing, what is Linux? So Linux is an open source operating system. And what is open source then? Right. So let's say in your Windows, yeah. So if you want to change these icons or let's say if you want to change this recommended or any of these kind of layout or anything in the settings as well. So if you want to change, you can't write it, right? So let's say you want to change all these configurations, you can to a certain extent. So like only Windows has the full privilege to modify or enable or disable the whole operating system. Okay, so that's the closed operating system. Basically, it's overall it will be controlled only by Microsoft. And if you do change using some of the patches and so the next update, it will be wiping out the whole changes what you made, and it will be like a previous version. So that's the issue with the closed operating system. And now you might ask, okay, why we need to change in the first place? Again, it depends on each person. Like let's say if you want it to be a bit more secure and don't want Microsoft to track you or some other changes you made, it should reflect right away. So you can't in Windows. To a certain extent only you can make changes in the Windows, whereas in Linux you can. And while talking about Linux, we must talk about the Linux, the person who initiated the Linux, whose name is Linus Torvalds. Okay, so why I opened his GitHub pages? Basically, this is an open source kernel. So kernel is like a heart of the server or heart of the operating system. Okay, so and he's not the only one contributor to that. So basically, you see, this is one of the most contributed repo in your GitHub. So you see around 15,000 plus contributors are there, and it is an um, active repo, which means like even 5 days ago, someone made changes to one of these path, right? So like that, uh, basically, if you make a copy of this and somehow you created the UI, you can create your own version of Linux. It's that open. Okay, so means that's the main crux of the open source software. You can customize, create your own icons, create your own start menu, anything if you want, you can do it as per your requirement, right? So, and that also has its own downside. We will discuss that throughout the session later. Okay, so but uh, overall, you can create your own customize based on the requirement, and that's where our Red Hat comes in. So Red Hat or any operating system, if you see based on Linux, it's called as Linux distros. So there is one more site I'll show you. I'll give this site in the chat as well. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, so we just go to the distro watch link, and this is one of the sites which is a bit overwhelming because there's a lot of information here. So basically what this site is, so this is a Linux distro site, or it is called as Linux distributions. Plus. And so it is called as Linux distro. Okay, so in short, it is the Linux distros. Basically, there are certain developers who clubbed together and created their own version and named it. And they made it public as well. So, and this is a rank based on which is being used a lot. So basically, MX Linux, Linux and Mint and Debian, Manjaro. So these are all kind of famous one. And you might see Red Hat bit like I guess it's around yeah 69 Red Hat is. So that's what like yeah, because it's mostly Red Hat is concentrated on this enterprise. So you might see it bit not popular among the community basically. But in the enterprise, Red Hat is the preferred one, and they have the market share of 85%. Okay, so it's even growing actually, but as of now, the market share in the enterprise. So enterprise in the sense, it's nothing but your companies. Okay, so all the companies prefer Red Hat over any other Linux distribution like this. Okay, so these are all community editions, but even those a few are for the enterprise, but still they prefer Red Hat. Why? Because why we will discuss later, but as of now, let's see Linux itself is relevant in IT, right? So that should be your next question because we have Windows and Windows been there for quite some time. Even Mac is mature, but why Linux, right? So why? Because Linux is one of the lightweight operating system and it has a very good set of management tools, like let's say monitoring. So it is a bit more mature compared to your or how it handles the resources. Let's say these are all system resources. So how it handles the CPU, memory, your disk, right? Your networking, everything matters, especially in your enterprise. And Linux handles it optimally, based on your usage, first thing, but still it is far more uh, secure, first thing. And there are many features of Linux. Okay, so that's the thing about it and why companies prefer that. And again, few developers or any important, like let's say monitoring softwares, all is having a Linux. Like there is one more version for Linux. Mostly it will be available for Windows, but few softwares only work in Linux. Like let's say DevOps softwares, mostly it works only in Linux. Okay, so we'll discuss what about those later. So yeah. And so let me go through a little bit about the Red Hat and show you. So basically, you might have came across their one of the tools like Ansible, right? So you might have heard their tools like Ansible, OpenShift, all are owned by Red Hat, and Red Hat is owned by IBM. Okay, so basically, Red Hat, what they done is they took the kernel from this open source kernel and they built their own version with few more enterprise grade tools, and they launched in 1999, which is they are a bit more mature nowadays, and they handle a lot of applications. And you see, they have their own cloud service automation. So if I go through their tools, that itself will sum up the section. So it's a lot, and we will concentrate on RHEL, which is Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Okay, so this is what we will work on, and our sessions will be based on this. And that this is what the 85% market share. The companies prefer Red Hat Enterprise Linux, and this is a version of yeah, same Linux. Okay, so that's what. And why? Because as I told, it has upper hand with the support system as well. So they have a very good support system, and that is also one of the USP of it. Okay, so now let's move on to the kind of a roadmap of our course. Okay, so first thing we will see the user management, and this is a common for any OS, right? So these are all very very important pillars for any OS, but we will see based on the exam point of view, like the certification, as well as our day-to-day activities. Okay, so it's not that okay, this course is only for certification. What we do or what I personally do in a company, that's what we will discuss throughout the session. And this is a beginner friendly as well. Okay, so let's say you are introduced to IT now only, or you are a fresher, this would be a very good course. Or if you are already an experience with Linux, this is like a fresher or a kind of a, if you want to refresh your mind on this like Linux, you can go through this course. Okay, so we will see who are all the uh, key persons for this course later. But as of now, let me complete the syllabus, and lastly we'll discuss the. If you have any doubts, also let's discuss it last. Okay. So first thing, it is the user management. So what and all we will cover in the user management. These are all the things we'll cover. Okay. So how to create a user, how to manipulate an existing user, and how to remove, and how to configure the super user access, and which is an interesting take on your privileged users. Okay, so that's what. And next thing is privileged access and how to restrict a user to use only a certain path. So those things we will discuss in the user management as well as group. So basically, your group management, if we are having a very strong group management, your user management will be a ease of access, especially in your if it is a very big MNC, right? So that's how it is, and we will discuss all those in the user management. And the next one will be your disk management, which is what on day-to-day basis you will do as a Linux administrator. And why? Because you are the one who have access to do that first thing. And as an admin, you must manage your disks. And why? Because in your in your personal mission, it's like we don't, that's the last thing we do, right? So first thing we will create a partition and we will dump everything to it. Let's say you have a movie, series, or any documents, everything will go to a single partition only, which is fine, especially in Windows, but or in our local machines. But in your enterprise, uh, wherever the data is there, that's what the money is, right? So basically, they spend a lot, especially to store the data. And in order to store effectively, they need to manage it, right? So that's the reason the creating a partition. So these are all different partitions, right? So we need to be very precise while creating, and we should be a bit careful as well. So if you wrongly provisioned one of the partition, it will be costing you a lot or the company a lot, right? So that's the thing. And we will discuss that extensively, risk management, like at least 2 to 3 sessions will be based on that. And the next one will be your process management. And that's a key part, especially for our course. Why? Because um, like that's what your as a sysadmin you do. Like in order to, let's say, maintain a what is the progress of the process, or if there's something went wrong with the process, you are the one who need to step in and fix it, right? So that's where the both server troubleshooting and process management are kind of the same, because both will be contributing the same amount of productivity in your work environment. So you need to know how to manage it as well as how to troubleshoot it. Okay. So the next one is, as I told, server troubleshooting. So let's say if a server went down, server in the sense it's nothing but even this machine will, it's almost like a server only. Okay, so any machine. So in this case, this is my PC, by the way. So this PC will become a like it's kind of like a server. So we call it a system or a server, but both are same only. So you just if I mention server, it's nothing but a simple laptop or a system. But in a server grade hardware, which is like the motherboard will be a huge one, or means like it can support much more capacity, right? So not like it's a very high tech, like it can support. So in my case, my motherboard supports, let's say, 32 gigs of RAM. In that case, it will be a bit more, like it will support 120 gigs. Like, okay, so but the hardware or the basics of the machine stays the same. All the components will be the same, just the capacity will be bit more. Okay. And so we coming back to this one. So let's say something went wrong with your machine and you need to troubleshoot it. So you this is what like this won't be asked in your exam, by the way, server troubleshooting. But on day-to-day basis, what we do, like how to manage the disks, or if a disk is filled, what you will do, we will extend, or what are all the measures we will take, and what is the best practice in terms of the market. We will discuss that in this server troubleshooting. And the next one, the last one is your basic network. So why I mentioned as basic networking is, which is related to only the server point of view. And why? Because networking itself is a separate subject, right? So if we dwell too deep into that, it will become a huge session. Like the session will go for another month. So that much information is there for the networking. So anything related to the server, we will discuss, like how to create a static IP, how to create a host name and assign it. And if time permits, we'll discuss the DNS, everything. But mostly we'll discuss only the on the server point of view, how to create a firewall and those things. Okay. And now let's see the what is the server, sorry, what is the certification that Red Hat provides? Okay, so basically the certification is Red Hat Certified System Administrator. So that's what RHCSA is for. And why RHCSA? That's your next question, right? So why RHCSA in the sense? First thing, Red Hat has the credibility that, let's say if you've done that certification, you are assuring the interviewer or anyone, if it is mentioned in your resume, that you know the basics and the intermediate level of the Linux as a Linux administrator, right? So that's how the credibility is. Why? Because this exam basically you don't have any MCQ or there is no like a single word answer, no nothing. Only if you know how to perform a specific operation, you can attend it. Okay, so I will show you an example and let's move on to the next one. Let me open a sample question paper. And by the way, I will give the access to these all. So yeah, yeah. So let's say like this. So if you know how to configure the network, then only you can proceed with the next question like that. So it's that critical. And I'm not scaring you basically. So it's a very easy exam only. And it is an entry level exam, but still it is a practical based. So there is no MCQ involved. And if you know the how or which command comes in, or which command is the right one for that time being, then you should then only you can attend it basically. Okay, so yeah, you should prepare a lot, especially for this exam. And we will discuss this whole question paper as well. So I will share this question paper at the last, or the drive link and share it at the last. Okay. So that's what, like, if you do this certification, and again, it is a paid certification only, but let's say if you've done this one, it has its own credibility in your resume or in your profile. Okay. And so these are all the syllabus we will discuss, and all the syllabus will be relevant for your certification, as well as on day-to-day activities, whatever we do, we will be going through as per the course. Okay. So the first thing, what is the introduction about our 8 I mentioned? So it is like a 8 or 9. So the current version is 9.3. So well, 9.3. So that's the OS version. So basically you are using Windows 11, right? So like that, RHEL also has their own versions, and this it is 9.3 is the latest one, and it's fine. So from RHEL 8 or 9, anyone you can use, and I will provide you the respective files as well, OS files and those things, and yeah, so we will see that how to install and all in the next session. But yeah, that's what we'll see, the introduction to that particular OS. And the next one is the specific commands. So essential and advanced commands. So many might already figured out that Linux is mostly we will interact with the machine based on the commands. And that's true. And you should not be afraid of the commands. That's the very important thing. So it's like a only way of communicating with the machine. So let's say I want to change this machine name to some other, or this username to some other thing. I can simply do in the settings, and I can do it because it is a GUI. Okay, so what is a GUI? Let's see. So these are all the two ways of interacting with the machine. Okay, so the first thing is your graphical user interface, and CLI is command. So what is the difference between both this? So GUI, the basic idea is it's like or how GUI works is basically what we are doing now itself is a GUI. So I am interacting with this machine using my cursor, which is again a graphical element, as well as I can click to a some of the icon and I can open a settings or anything, right? So I can do whatever I want based on the graphical elements it is responding. So that's your GUI. And even in your, it's not that, okay, RHEL doesn't have a GUI. Obviously, RHEL also has, but companies prefer CLI. And what is CLI now? So CLI is nothing but, so Just go to start and type CMD, which will open the command prompt. And yeah, so this is a CMD. So you can type something here, but it won't detect that. Okay, so open, you see, it doesn't detect um, like specific commands, only it will work, right? So those are all called as binaries, and we will discuss what are all those binaries later. But as of now, you can't select it, or like you can't double click and go to desktop, right? So that's what CLI. If you want to go to that, you just need to do CD, then only it will go to that particular directory. Okay, so you need to interact with the machine based on a command. So that's the reason it is called as command line interface and graphical user interface. So there is one more which is called as TUI, which is a differentiated one, which is text-based user interface. Okay, so we will discuss that once we install the machine, we will discuss that. So that's like a combination of both. So it will have the graphical element, but you can only, you can't double click it. So you can only press the in the keyboard. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so again, we have like 2000 plus commands are there in Linux. So even much more. Like let's say you are using like your own custom commands also is appreciated, but that's what like at least 2000 commands is there, and no one uh, can remember the whole thing. Even the person who founded it also doesn't know the whole thing, right? So because it is a community effort, and but we will discuss the essential one and the advanced one, which is needed for the your work environment. Okay, so at least 100 plus commands we'll discuss. Okay, and mostly each command has its own options to it. So that's what the key factor. So we will discuss those in extensively. Okay, and in the next session, or the yeah, mostly next session we will install the OS in our machine. So I will show you, or I will discuss about what is the basic system requirement for this one. And if your system requirement or your system doesn't allow you to install, let's say you're using your enterprise laptop, uh, you need to use a cloud service provider like AWS, GCP, or Azure, right? So any one you must use because it is a practical sessions, right? So you should have a working lab setup. Then only you can proceed with our sessions. Okay. So I will show you all the three methods of installation. Okay, so that one will be your local one using VMware. The other two, so one will be AWS and GCP. Azure actually what they used to give a trial version, but nowadays they are not giving. So if you want, I can show you, but it is like only for the paid candidates. Okay, means you need to pay for the lab, which is not good, right? So mostly GCP and AWS, you just prefer it. But if you really want, I will show you on Azure. Okay. And the next one is your performance monitoring. So what is a performance monitoring? It's nothing but your task manager. But this is for the one system, but we are going to work in a like an array of servers, which is like at least 5,000 plus servers will be there in any enterprise. So basically, you can monitor at maximum of two machines at the same time, but you should have a monitoring solution or monitoring a tool. In that case, it will automatically like trigger that alert. Let's say you set a threshold. So threshold value of memory or something, let's say the memory, if it is crossing more than 90%, you will receive an email or any alert, right? So like that, you must have a monitoring setup. So any company has that, and they have their own. Okay, so let me just list few tools. If time permits, I will discuss how about these tools. Okay, at the last of the session, not right away. So at the last of the session, if time permits, we will install the one of the monitoring tool in our machine, and we will discuss about it. So Dynatrace is for the application monitoring, not for the just for the server, but still we need to monitor it, right? So even the applications. So ELK stack is to monitor the logs of any application or the server. And you have Splunk, and the list goes on. Okay, so but these are all kind of famous or the kind of market standard. Dynatrace is the preferred one for application monitoring and even the server monitoring. Splunk is for the log monitoring and all. Right. So yeah. So if time permits, you will discuss at least one at the last. Okay. So the user management we did saw just now, and these are all the basic OS concepts. So what are all the tools we use, like basic tools which is needed for the machine. We will discuss that, and how to search for any text. These are all basic things, right? For sure. From basics we will go. So that's what I mentioned. This course is for the person who is very new to any IT. So if there is let's say he doesn't have any IT experience, this will be a very good course. As well as if you know these all, but still with few intermediate level topics we will discuss, not to advanced level, because that will take some time. So this course is only for 1 month, or at least 4 to 5 weeks it will go on. So yeah. So based on how many doubts you ask, the session will extend. Okay, so and doubts are appreciated, but still, based on how many doubts you ask, let's say a single topic can even extend to 2 or 3 sessions based on your uh, your interaction. Okay, so yeah, and how to access the server remotely, and why we need to access it remotely. The server will reside in some, let's say Japan or some random location in the uh, like throughout the world, right? So we need to access it remotely. And what are all the issues you will face? Let's say some issues you face, you are the one who need to troubleshoot it, right? So that's what we do. And you must have a mindset of approaching the problems. It's like a kind of like a developer role only. So a developer, the main thing is to solve the existing problems in the, let's say, any environment. The same thing goes to a sysadmin as well. But we are solving a real thing, or we are at least avoiding it to be let's say the server is rebooted, but that reboot should not happen, let's say, for the next 1 year. So you will be taking measures which will prevent the reboot or prevent that particular issue to appear again, right? So that's the kind of a proactive measures you're taking on that server, like that. You should have that mindset to, in order to become a SME, especially in Linux or Linux admin, right? So yeah, and archiving and compress. So all these we will do for the logs, especially. So logs, it plays a vital role, especially in your enterprise. We will discuss those for sure, and which is much needed generally for any operating system. And these are all again the same: how to create a file, how to manipulate it, how to delete, modify everything, and how to create the hard link, soft link. And this is the important one, which is your file permissions. Okay, just a second. So what are all the different file permissions and how file permissions define your server? So define your security measures of a particular file or a directory. And I mentioned as a directory here, but in your Windows, we will call it as folder. Both are same. Okay, so don't confuse with those. But yeah, we will see, and it is a very interesting way of provisioning the permissions, which it's kind of like in Windows, mostly we don't do this permissions, or it's kind of a second thought. Mostly as a Windows admin also, very rarely we will mess around with the permissions, but yeah, it's very easy in Linux, and which is preferred also in Linux. Okay, we'll go through that, and it's a very interesting and an important session as well. And the basic system administrative activities, the next session actually we will see the booting procedure. Okay, so again, it's a very basic thing. sysadmin must know, especially a Linux admin, because what is happening from, like, let's say you once you press the power button, what happens until you see the lock screen or your home screen, right? So you need to know the process, and there are like around 6 stages are there. So we will see that, and yeah, we will discuss that in the next session and the installation video. Okay, and so yeah, the next one is how to interrupt that, right? So let's say you are having some issue in the server while booting, and it is again rebooting itself. So which means there is a boot loop happening, and you need to be in a position to identify what went wrong. And yeah, so there might be some hardware issue, some software issue, can be anything, but you should be in a position to identify and fix it, right? So that's what we will see, and how to identify which, like again, this is based on the memory. So memory or your CPU utilization, like what is the process which is using a lot, and we need to sort it out and kill it. Like let's say if it is not required or it is some stale process, right? So we need to kill it. So all those we will see. Okay, so how to manage the tuning profiles and this one, right? So how to locate a log and how the logs are actually populating. So that knowledge also you should have. And especially locating a log itself is a challenge because you will have basically these many logs you will encounter. So which means like your basic event log, your German log, root log, and user login also is a log is there, which means like the last log it is called as last log, and application log. So like this, the list goes on. At least 10 to 15 logs will be there actively in your machine. It will be populating actively, and you should be in a position to exactly locate what went wrong and while you do the troubleshooting of the issue, right? So that's what this one. So it will be a very interesting session. This one as well, and how to start, stop, or check the status of any system services. We'll see this is like a process management, right? So how to check it, or if something went wrong, how to troubleshoot it, right? And how to securely transfer files between different machines using SAP and WinSAP tool as a tool, and RSync, right? So that one, and server patching as well. So previous batches, I used to get a lot of queries about what is server patching. So we will do that using Yum repository. So and a subscription, I will show you how to subscribe your machine to the Red Hat. And mostly we need to pay a lot actually for the actual subscription. We will opt for the developer one. So I will show you that one. Okay. So and yeah, so it is also one of the key element in your interview. You might get this patching also. So yeah. The next one is disk management, and so it's almost done. Okay, so so disk management, the important one is LVM. So LVM full form is logical volume management. Okay, so it's like a USP of our Linux machine. So this LVM concept is there in your Windows, but it's like you can't. Okay, so how LVM works? I will give a basic idea. So it's like, let's say you can't merge this disk 0 and disk 1, right? So let's say disk 0 is having around 1.8 TB of space, and disk 1 is having 200 gigs. Okay, so I can't merge this disk 1 and disk 0 and call it 2 gigs. Sorry, 2 TB. It's not possible in Windows, whereas in Linux it's possible, and it is an easy way. In Windows also you can, but it's a bit complex there. And this Windows disk management is not being optimized or updated for quite some time. From Windows 7, it's the same. But here, it is also not updated. LVM is a very old concept, but still, it's a very reliable one. Okay, so you can make use of it a lot. And this is what as a day-to-day usage, sorry, as a day-to-day activity you'll be doing. Okay, so yeah, you will extend the specific disk or LVM disk, or you can resize it, remove it, based on the requirement. You can mount a new disk. Everything we'll discuss, and that's what like this session will be going for around 2 to 3 sessions. We'll be seeing only on disk management. Okay, and the next one is also the same: how to format your file systems and how to allocate the specific mount point respective to that, and how to delete. And the strategy and video is like a kind of an add-on. Why? Because in your exam you might expect this one of these. Okay, it's like an advanced version of your LVM. Okay, and the next one is your obviously security is a very important factor in any operating system. Even though we mostly as an end user we don't care it a lot, still security must by default it will be enabled in our machines. So Windows does have Defender, and Linux has its own way of securing the machine, right? So and comparatively Windows on the Mac and Linux is far more secure, right? So even though it has its own downfall or vulnerability, still it's comparatively it is much more secure if you rank it, right? So that's what. And like here is where we will be seeing the how to do the key-based authentication using SSH. So SSH is basically secure shell. Okay, so it's not that I won't explain these all later. So since it is a acronym, I need to expand it and explain, right? So that's the thing. And SSH is what we will use to connect to our machines. Okay, so we will discuss that how to do the key-based authentication. Why? Because that's a very important knowledge, as many does already use this on day-to-day basis, but they don't have a full picture on how it actually works in the backend. Just they might have used the private key, public key, and worked on. But what algorithm goes in and what is actual thing it is like generating in the key, right? So all those we'll discuss. Again, this is a very interesting topic and very much like the very good knowledge it will be for you. Okay? And the next one would be your firewall settings, and we'll discuss that. And again, the same file permissions. We'll be changing the file permissions to restrict a particular user to access it, or like using ACL and all. And the next one is your SE Linux. So using context, we will be securing. It's like a one more layer of protection on each and every file and directory. Okay, and how to restrict the user to use only a specific set of commands using rhash, and how to secure him to use only certain path. He won't have access to his own path, home directory as well. Okay, so that's what this restricting user. And so this is what we discussed already, right? So basic networking, how to configure a static IP host name, how to change the networking services and those things. And the next one will be your containers. So you might have heard a term called as or a tool called as Docker, right? So mostly you might have came across Docker and Kubernetes. So Red Hat has their own version of Docker, which is called as Podman. Okay, so Podman is owned by Red Hat, and not only Podman. So there is one more thing for the skill areas and some more. Okay, but this Podman is the preferred one, and it's like 95 to 99% Docker. Almost every command works like a Docker, and even you can mention this knowledge in your resume once, because we will pretty much discuss how to pull, push, and how to commit your commit, or how to troubleshoot, and we will even create a startup service based on the container. So basically, we do all the steps we do in your Docker. Not to an advanced level, but you can mention this in your resume as well. Okay? And the next one is here VMware vSphere. So this vSphere, why? Because why specifically I mentioned vSphere is so the one this VMware. Let me open it. So the VMware which we use in our mission, this one won't be used in your like enterprise or in your company. Why? Because that's how it is. The VMware vSphere has much more uh, features, and as an operational level, it's far more secure as well. So vSphere, we will discuss that. Why? Because mostly laptops you can't install the vSphere. Okay, so that's what in my PC, I will install and show you how vSphere works, because the hardware requirement for vSphere is a lot, and like at least 120 gigs of memory, sorry, of your disk you need to allocate for vSphere to at least start it. Okay, so that much is needed. I will show you that, yeah, how it works, and that will be pretty much sum of our syllabus. Okay. So yeah, now we can ask any doubts regarding the sessions. And it is a paid session, by the way. So it will go, as I told, the duration will be at least 4 weeks of content, which is like a 20 days it will be. And the course might extend based on how much doubts you ask. And yeah, and the course fees is around 4,130 in INR and around $55, I guess, in your USD. Okay. So the timing won't be changed. It will be from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. IST. So for the people who are from US or some other region, you just calculate based on the daylight saving as well. So it will be the same timing in the IST. So yeah. So any doubts, anyone? You can put it in the chat. I guess someone raised the hand. Hypervisor, no, Suresh, actually. So we prefer the VMware. So I will explain the virtualization concepts and all. Okay, so, but yeah, hypervisor, we won't discuss on that. Is patching management automation covered in the syllabus? No, Rangasamy, actually. We don't discuss. It's like that's what it's basically entry level or intermediate knowledge only we'll discuss. Kind automation actually requires your Ansible and those things, right? So I will show you how it works, but we won't discuss too much about the automation. So OS upgrade, um, like which one stream us? Like will we discuss about how to upgrade our OS? Is it? Oh, okay. No, Srinivas, that and all is we will discuss about the your patching. Like, let's say if there is any update in our any softwares or anything installed already, but not the whole OS upgrade we will. But anyhow, we will install the RHEL 8. Okay, so RHEL 8 or 9 will install. Okay, so yeah. I want to switch from current organization to this course. Obviously, Ayushi. So this is like if you want to revamp your knowledge on Linux, so this is a very correct course for you, I guess. Why? Because yeah, so few interview questions also we'll discuss at the last. Okay, and if time permits, we can go through a resume walkthrough. Okay, so I will give few points you can mention in your resume. Obviously, Rajendra, that's what I told, right? So non-IT as well as these people are eligible. So let's say once you are done with the course, right? So let's say course completed. So what is the next step? So that mostly we used to get that question. So what is the next step is you can start applying for sysadmin roles, right? So it's just if you're from non-IT backgrounds also, this is where your RHCSA will has its own credibility. Why? Because let's say you are done with this certification and there is no prerequisite for this certification as well. And the certification cost is a bit high, but still, let's say you're done with this one. So it's around 20K INR. And once you're done with that one, and it's from official rate cap only, and the certificate will be for 3 years validity. Okay, so again, you can you can renew it, but still that's what obviously you will get placed before that 3 years time, but that's the thing. So it's a certain role, and you can apply for DevOps role. But if you have knowledge of few more tools, we will discuss that. Okay, and yeah. So if you are a senior person, let's say you are having experience of 8 to 10 years of experience in some other domain, or even in Linux also, you can apply for SRE, which is Site Reliability Engineer. Okay, so this again, mostly right away you won't be working as a reliability engineer, but still you can opt for it if you're an experienced person. Okay, so you can right away apply for sysadmin or DevOps roles. For DevOps, actually, few more tools are needed, or few more tools, at least basic knowledge is needed. It's not that you should master any tool, and no one can. So as of now, but still, at least if you know the basics, how a tool can be integrated or what, that itself will be enough knowledge. Okay. Uh, Rajendra, yeah, actually, if you are a non-IT background, RHCS is kind of mandatory for you, because now in the job market, they do require some kind of credibility that, okay, you know this for sure. Like that. So RHCSA is like a statement that, or it is assuring the interviewer that, okay, you know something and you actually accomplished using that certification. So that's the reason I urge you to complete that RHCSA once you're done with the course. Okay? It's not that after 3 years you should not, like, different certificate you will do thoroughly. Okay, so the exam fees are 20K, and this certification, like every certification has its own expiry date or expiry period. So that period is of 3 years. Okay, so you need not worry too much. The concept or this, so if you have at least once you're done with it, that's fine. Okay, so you will have the knowledge of it. I will complete my. Yeah, you can complete the RP. Okay, so basically our course will revolve around the RHCSA, but yeah, so we will discuss mostly RHCSA content as well as the day-to-day basics. So this LVM basics only will be asked in your exam. Okay, so I will, while we talk about the exam, I will show you this drive link. So first thing, you just type bit.ly slash Linux LL1. Okay, so I'll give this link in the chat as well. Um, yeah, Rangasamy. So once you're done with the session, you can crack yourself. We will discuss throughout the session based on the exam point. Because why in the sense, let's say, we just go through these questions, okay? So first one will be networking. So this is what already we discussed in the syllabus. So that will be covered. Same thing goes for your repository, your SC lines. All the topics we cover. And once I cover a topic, we will be seeing the example in the exams point of it. Okay. What is the question it is asked? So even though if you don't, these questions are not asked also, this concept stays the same. So it will be like, let's say if not the exact question is asked, still you can answer this, because if you will be knowing this concepts, right? So it's not like a dump. Okay, so you can use it, but still because there is even an answers in the same drive only. So yeah, you can have the answers right away. Just for your reference, I attached it, but still I will appreciate you if you stick to the course and understand what is going through the question. Okay, so because if a different one is asked, you will be having hard time answering it if you don't know the concept itself, right? So that's the thing. Yeah, Kushal. So troubleshooting is a very important part in the course. Okay, so what we do as a day-to-day activity, especially as a sysadmin, what we will do, it will be covered throughout the course. And Dinesh is asking, yeah, there will be certification provided from the institute as well, Dinesh. Okay, so there will be certification from Logic Labs. And let me, once while we are here, let me show you how to enroll for this course. So this is the portal page, by the way. So let me save the chat as well. So just go to the site and you can even bookmark it. Okay, so just click the start, you can do bookmark, and the our course is here. So I will do this link as well. Yeah, so once you click that buy course, it will be, you can opt for it. And let's say you are not fine with this timing, okay? But you're fine with the recordings as well. There is a recording sessions. The same course, it's already available from the previous batch. It's the same concept. Okay, so everything is already discussed. You see, like the different sessions would be there. So along with the, so yeah, you see, the recording will be there along with the notes. Okay, so like that. And if you're having hard time, like accessing any of your recording or anything, you just click on this contact us. One of the support team will be, or one of the executive from the support team will be assisting you. And if you're having any technical doubts also, you just click on this contact us. They will connect you with me, and we will be, I'll be taking control of your machine if you're having very, like you can't fix your machine or something. We will figure it out. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so any more doubts? And this is like a 15th batch, by the way. So yeah, it's a very mature course in our logic labs. So yeah, 15th or yeah, 16th, sorry. It's a 16th batch. So anything related to our course will be posted in this Linux or this Drive link. And for tomorrow, for you, for the people who are fine with installing it in your own machine, so the VMware requirement is, it's not much. So basically, if you have at least 2 CPU cores. So what is a CPU core here? So just go to your right click your taskbar, click on Task Manager, and click on CPU. And here you see the core count. I have 8. So in your case, if you have 2, then you are good to go. Okay, or if you have 4, that's great. But at least 2 should be there, because one we will be using for the base machine, which is your own Windows machine, and one will be using as the virtualization. Okay, and next one will be your how much memory you need. At least 1 GB of memory, 1 GB of RAM, okay, and 20 gigs of hard disk drive. Okay, yeah, Shailesh, sorry. Uh, so Shailesh, you can use Oracle VirtualBox, but I personally prefer VMware Workstation, because why, in the sense, if you have the understanding of these tools, it's almost the same like your VMware vSphere, which is like a standard in your work environment. Okay, so once you have knowledge of this one, right away you can opt in for that, because VirtualBox also is fine. It's your choice. Okay, so it's not that okay you must use that, but I personally prefer the VMware Workstation. Or if you have uh, like Nutanix also you can use, or any other you can use. Okay, so it's your choice, but yeah, VMware we will use. And yeah, so here just in this, if you go to the drive link, and you have this installation files, right? So just double click it, and you have this ISO. Okay, so this ISO, and so anyhow, we will discuss this in tomorrow's session. It's already time. Okay, so but as of now, you just download this as. Okay, so don't select everything and download, because let's say if you select multiple and right click and click on download, it will start archiving, or it will zip. Okay, so that will take a lot of time. So don't do that. So just select one by one and download, and you keep it handy. Okay, so yeah, so this is our OS. So you can download it for the people who are fine with installing in your own machine. Okay, so yeah. I hope it's already time. So thanks for sticking for more than the time allocated. So again, this recording or today's session's recording will be available in the YouTube channel. So the YouTube channel is this one. Yeah, so this is the YouTube channel. So you can go to my previous batch recordings also is there. So you can go through that. Okay, so these are all the previous batch recordings. And yeah, you can see how I'm explaining. So mostly it will be practical session, guys. It's not that fully theory part, but at least basics theory it will be covered. Okay, so yeah, so you can go through this YouTube channel. And today's session it will be posted in a few hours. At least at next 1 or 2 hours, it will be posted. Okay. So yeah, uh, yeah. So that's it for the day then. So let's see tomorrow. Next thing. Okay. So thanks all for your time. Have a great day. Thanks all. Bye bye. Yeah. Thanks, Chandra.